There are several different timelines playing out right now here on planet Earth, and none of them are good. See, the controllers have been mapping out their timelines for decades, while the rest of us have been caught completely by surprise over the past few years. So let's talk about how we can respond to this situation in a way that is best for us. Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Saratoga Ocean, and I work together with an interdimensional, interuniversal, and extraterrestrial force known as Telstar, along with Archangel Michael. My goal is to help you effectively navigate the chaos on this planet so that you can stay on an ascension path. Now, the simple way that we get ushered into these very bad timelines is through a very high level of expert brainwashing. So we need to become experts at seeing with crystal clarity the many levels of brainwashing that we are always being subjected to. What we really need is a vast illumination of our situation so that we can move forward with clarity and certainty. Now, I know it's so tempting to say, oh, Saratoga, I'm not subject to brainwashing. I don't fall for that stuff. But I'm going to show you some very powerful levels of brainwashing going on right now, a mind control going on right now, that are virtually invisible. But they're not going to be invisible by the time we're done here. Now, a lot of people try to go forward without the clarity and end up fighting against the surface picture, being unaware of how much they do not see. But here's the problem, you guys. The surface picture is also being used to manipulate us. When you understand this, you are going to realize that our situation is actually incredibly simple. See, because these controllers really don't have anything to work with other than their ability to install fake realities in our minds and convince us that they are real. And right now, most of us on this planet have been believing what we thought was reality, and it turns out it is in no way the actual reality at all. So that's why we need to go several levels deep to see what is actually underneath all of these layers that we can't see unless we probe down to that deepest level. And that's what I'm going to show you here in this video. And once we have that clarity, I'm going to be showing you guys a shocking part of the future that is really planned for us. And you're going to be able to start connecting a number of dots. And then we're going to talk about switching timelines and exactly how to do that. Now, before I get into all of this, I do want to share one new thing that I have learned from using my quantum frequency device that I've shown you guys before. See, I've learned a lot just in the process of using this. I have learned some amazing things. And one of the things I've learned, which I'll share with you real quickly, is that our greatest power, seriously, our greatest power lies in our ability to be consciously connected to the quantum universe. Now, we're already connected to the quantum. Of course we are. The problem is that it's pretty much on a subconscious level. And therefore, our experience is heavily, heavily weighted on the physical side. So what we need to do to find a balance in our evolution is to be awake at this physical level, awake at the quantum level, and have those two things in balance and connected so that we can reclaim and restore our full power as human creators. So essentially what we need is a way to bridge the gap consciously between our physical experience and the quantum field of infinite possibilities where all of creation originates. And if we can bridge that gap, we're going to be able to restore our power as human creators. Now, this quantum frequency device, Healy, is merely a bridge. How can it be a bridge? Very simply, it has an actual patented quantum sensor in it. That is a real, actual physical technology. This is not some airy-fairy woo-woo stuff. This is physically real science. So if you want to amplify and accelerate your ability to intend and create consciously, and to more quickly achieve a conscious balance in your experience between your physical 3D self and the quantum universe, I highly recommend you check this out. I think this was brought to us by the universe to support us at this particular time when we need it the most, because there is so much going on. So I'm going to put a link below. You can learn more, check it out. And with that, let us move on to the topic of today's video. So let's start by unveiling an even deeper level of brainwashing so that we can free ourselves from what is an outrageous level of mind control. And it's really important that we understand how this works so that we can purge our consciousness of all of it. Because you see, these controllers are true experts at brainwashing the masses at multiple different levels, not just the surface level. And a lot of people are following what they think is a solution when it's really just more manipulation at work. So once again, let us use the United States as an example for how this works. Now, if you saw my last video, this one right here, you will know that I have created certain labels for certain things happening here so that we can see with crystal clear vision. So, in the US, we have two political parties. We have the Republicans and we have the Democrats. Now, I want to show you an interesting contrast so that you can see how far into the dungeon these controllers have already taken us. Now, in the old days, a mere, decade or 2 or 3 ago, people actually had lives. Politics was very much a side issue. People talked about things. They actually had thoughts of their own. There was a wide variety of opinions. I mean, people just talked about stuff. It was no big deal. So elections at the time were really very civilized. The candidates campaigned on their ideas. The people chose the candidate who they thought had the best ideas. People put up signs in their yards, and it was all pretty normal and pretty civilized. So just get a picture of that civilized version in your mind for a moment and how simple it used to be. It almost sounds like a storybook, doesn't it? So let us contrast that simple civilized version with what we have going on today. Now today we don't have political parties anymore. We have two main cults whose followers have the same slogans and believe the same exact things. The Republicans have morphed into what I call the Red Hat cult, and the Democrats have morphed into what I like to call the Rainbow cult. Now, the Rainbow cult has their very own flag that they want to use to replace the old American flag. But hold on a minute now. The Red Hat cult has already stolen the American flag and now has made it into their own cult symbol. So now it's a battle between the Rainbow cult with their rainbow flag and their cult slogans, and the Red Hat cult, who have basically stolen the formerly American flag and now use it to represent themselves. Now each cult has a leader, and each cult wants their leader to be president. The Red Hat cult has a leader who has been branded a dangerous criminal. And the Rainbow cult has a leader who has been branded a useless vegetable. So Trump is the dangerous criminal and Biden is the useless vegetable. And now you get to pick. It's either President Dangerous Criminal, who is out to destroy the world, or it's President Useless Vegetable, who is also out to destroy the world. My friends, we are being played by both sides. Someone behind the scenes is pulling the levers to shove all of us into the most ridiculous cartoon this world has ever seen. But hold on, there's a very sinister method to this madness. Let's take a giant step back and have a deeper look at this bizarre situation. There are actually two layers that we need to be aware of. And the first one is this. Now, we have two cults battling each other for control of the world. Whoever wins is going to affect the entire planet. Now, if you look down on the Red Hat cult, you see an entire sea of red hats, of people cheering on a bombastic Red Hat leader who calls people names and threatens retribution. And if you look down on the Rainbow cult, you see absolute chaos and a bizarre, bizarre definition of reality. Weirdly enough, both sides have the exact same campaign slogan. It goes like this: everything the other guy says is a total lie, and all the other guy wants to do is destroy the world. So they're both saying exactly the same thing. Now, I want you to notice that there is a second layer underneath all of this hyperbole. And this is the part that has been nearly invisible to everyone. Do you realize that the first part of this year was spent trying to eliminate the Red Hat candidate from the race entirely by indicting him a gazillion times and putting him hopefully in prison? Just completely remove what was once, I shall say what was once, the Republican candidate for president. To just completely remove him. The first part of this year was devoted to taking him out of the race. Aha, but look at what this next part of the year is being devoted to. In equal measure, it's being devoted to removing the Rainbow cult leader from the race also. So they want to remove Mr. Dangerous Criminal, and they want to remove Mr. Useless Vegetable. It's almost like the same amount of energy has gone first into one side, let's get that guy off the table, and the same amount of energy is now on the other side, let's get this guy off the table. Isn't that really strange when you think about it? How weird is that? The media, the controllers, people behind the scenes have made a decision. We're going to get rid of the first guy, and then we're going to get rid of the second guy. The most important thing that we need to recognize is that for this entire year so far, the controllers' propaganda has been used with the intention of expelling both candidates from the race altogether. This entire election so far has been used to discredit both candidates, both of them, as dangerous, pathological liars who are unfit to be president. And then, weirdly enough, we're also led to believe that this is it. There's no one else, just these two freaks, because the way they're portrayed as freaks, and we don't even know what the truth is. We only know what we are shown and what we are told. But we're being told these two freaks are all you have. This is it. They're both unfit. Neither one has a right to be president. And then we're left sitting with this. Now, this is not just an American problem, because everybody kind of looks at the U.S. as setting the stage for whatever weird next thing is going to be coming about. But these controllers are so good at getting us to pick a side that we don't even see what is right in front of us, that they've spent this entire year trying to eliminate both candidates for president and convince us that they're both terrible, horrible, dangerous, awful people that have no right to sit in that office. The propaganda has been nonstop, 24/7 on both sides. Now, because I was paying attention, I happened to hear something else. This only showed up one time that I was aware of, but this is quite interesting. I think you're going to want to know about this. So, a well-known person in the so-called corporate media went on video or television, I don't know where, but I saw the video and had a certain proposal. And I listened to this person's proposal and I thought, this is crazy. What are you talking about? Here was his proposal. In all seriousness, in his suit and tie, he said, you know what we need to do at the debates? We need to allow each candidate to have their staff on stage with them. Each member of the staff has a microphone. So when the presidential candidate gets asked a question, they can turn to a staff member and get the answer. Right in front of everybody. He said, everybody should be able to see this. Now, I know you're thinking, well, they just want to protect Vegetable Man who kind of lost it the last time. No, that's not what this was about. Then he says, here's why we need to do this. He claims, you know, the way the presidency works, it's not a debate. The president doesn't have to know anything, he says. He has a staff, and all he has to do is ask the staff for the answer to his question, and the staff will give him the answer. Look at the setup. He's saying the staff is really the power, not the president. The president can be a complete idiot who knows nothing. It doesn't matter. He just asks a question of his staff like they're Google or something, gets the answer, and he said that's how the presidency works. So that's what we should present on stage so the American people can decide what? Who's got the better staff? I have no idea. So think about this. We're being presented with a situation where we kind of figured there really hasn't been a president for the last 4 years. Now, we're being shown a completely new reality. It's just being presented very insidiously. You know, the president doesn't really do anything. It's the staff that does it all. The staff is being elevated to such a high position that they should literally be on stage with the candidates in a presidential debate. And this guy was completely serious. I'm telling you guys, this is psychological warfare at a level that you will never see if you don't go to these deeper layers. This is very insidious and very significant brainwashing. They're trying to get us to erase from our minds any idea about having a leader of this country. Now, why would this be going on? Here's what I think is really happening. I think the goal is to develop each country on this planet as a region that is managed by a committee or a staff that is connected to a single global government, which is ultimately destined to be replaced by AI. I think this is how they are setting up humanity for AI dominance. And as always, why they have us all fighting about something or another, they are quietly building the infrastructure for a non-human silicon-based future. Now, in case you may think that this whole brainwashing issue is not a big deal because it's so easy to see, I want to explain to you why we have to get out of this mind control immediately. Because I'm going to show you what they have in mind for the future that's going to blow your mind. See, all of the brainwashing that I just described is part of a much larger process that we need to extract ourselves from immediately, because they are insidiously brainwashing us toward a vision of the future where they achieve absolute total control over all of our minds. Now, there is a whole lot of research and development going on nonstop that's all about AI-human interface. And some of the things that we hear about are justified, are presented to us with the idea that this will be really good for handicapped people, for paralyzed people. It will really help them. And sure, it probably would help them, although I'll bet they could find much better ways to help them if they wanted to. But they present that to us because who's going to say, well, that's terrible. I don't want those people to get help. Of course, no one's going to say that. We're thrilled for such people to get help. But they're using that as a way to get us to open our minds to what they're really doing and not talking about. But this next plan that I'm going to show you is so sinister and so horrific that there's no way they can say, this is a good plan for handicapped people. So you know what they're going to say instead? They're going to say, well, this is a good plan for prisoners. This is a good plan for criminals. Because they know, because we're so easily mind controlled, that we will say, oh yeah, that sounds good. Criminals are bad. So this is probably good for criminals. Now I'm going to show you a mock-up of something called Cognify. This is something that is designed to be used on criminals instead of putting them in jail. It doesn't exist yet, but they're already introducing the idea. Wait until you see this.
Welcome to Cognify, a facility designed to treat criminals like patients. Instead of spending years in an actual prison cell, prisoners could finish their sentence here in just a few minutes.
Oh, so now the prisoner becomes a patient. Well, listen to this.
Cognify could someday create and implant artificial memories directly into the prisoner's brain. These complex, vivid, and lifelike memories are created in real time using AI-generated content.
And then there's this.
The artificial memories implanted by Cognify would be seamlessly incorporated into the existing neural networks of the brain, preventing cognitive dissonance and ensuring the subject experiences the memories as if they were real.
Now, basically, the prisoner first undergoes a high-resolution brain scan to create a detailed map of their neural pathways. This is so Cognify can target certain brain regions that deal with things like memory, reasoning, and logical thinking. And next, this creepy device is placed on the head of a person.
The intensity and the type of artificial memories is then adjusted depending on the crime. Inside the criminal's mind, time would pass differently, slower than in real life, making them experience years' worth of artificial memories in just a few minutes. Some memories are designed to trigger consequences and trauma. Cognify Emotion Regulation System could modulate neurotransmitters and hormones to induce specific emotional states, such as remorse or regret, which is crucial for rehabilitation.
And by the way, are you starting to figure out that in the future, literally anyone could be deemed a prisoner or a criminal? We're already being brainwashed in that direction. We see people being charged with crimes for merely expressing the wrong opinion on social media. How about being a criminal for say, using the wrong pronouns or having the wrong political point of view? And I think that someday the word criminal will be applied to people who have certain carbon-based belief systems, because they will be deemed a danger to the planet. So let's continue.
Real-time monitoring and feedback mechanisms could track the prisoner's neural responses throughout the process, allowing the system to adapt and optimize the rehabilitation in real time. To ensure the long-term effect of the therapy session, the memories could become permanent, fully integrated into the subject's mind, as if they were part of their own personal experiences.
Oh, but it doesn't stop there.
While subjects are undergoing therapy session, valuable data are collected from all the prisoners into a central computer for scientific research, which will help understand the criminal mind and determine the best approach to tackle crimes in society.
And listen to this. They thought of everything in this diabolical vision.
Once the therapy session is concluded, family members of the subject could be provided with a comprehensive report on the new artificial memories that have been implanted, offering them a chance to adjust to the subject's new, positive personality traits.
After this, they say that the subject is then released back into society to start a new life away from crimes. Now, I want you to listen to this last piece.
A compact and portable design would allow Cognify to be used anywhere in the world. The Cognify concept could revolutionize the criminal justice system by significantly reducing the need for long-term incarceration and its associated costs.
Let's just pause for a moment and think about why this might be necessary. They can't really lock everyone up who doesn't agree with their plans or everyone who doesn't agree with AI. They don't really want to physically have to manage that kind of a fiasco. Think about how clever and how much more efficient this contraption would be. I mean, these controllers are just so clever and amazing. So right now we are being brainwashed to believe that literally any random thing can be a crime. I think they hope to get that belief fully integrated into society in time for the future development of this technology. So just to recap, on the surface, they have us focused on fighting with the other side. Both sides are said to be equally as useless, dangerous, and basically shouldn't exist at all. So we're literally fighting phantoms. We're fighting phantom ideas that the controllers have put in place in our collective minds, thinking that that's what we really need to be doing. Meanwhile, we're all being set up for all the things that I've shared with you here today. And when you start to connect all of these underlying dots, you might begin to realize why I have been saying for months and months that we cannot afford to waste any time in knowing who we are in this universe. Because right now we are in the middle of mind control that is on steroids. It is massive. It is everywhere. It is permeating literally everything. And I think people are literally swimming in these illusions that are being perpetrated against us in such a way that people's energy is being drained, they're being confused, they're being made afraid. It's a dire situation if you don't see what is going on and recognize that it's time to focus. Pay attention to the actual timeline they have us on, the main one, which is the one I described. I think we all know what it is. We know it's AI. We can see it. It's right in front of us. It's not being hidden at all. So let's talk about how we can each begin the process of switching to our own timelines and get ourselves off the path of this crazy, insane timeline that these controllers have us on. So switching timelines is not a one-time event. It's actually a process that each one of us can initiate for ourselves as an individual. Now, when you think about switching timelines here on planet Earth, here's how you want to look at it. Do you want to find a different timeline on this same plane of existence? Because if you do, it's kind of a long shot because look what's going on, right? Or would you prefer a timeline that is at a higher level? That's what ascension is. We have to get over the idea that everything happens when you leave planet Earth. All the good stuff happens when we get out of here. That's just not true. We are on an evolutionary path right now in this moment. And it's really probably a wise thing to signal to the universe that we actually understand that, we accept it, and we welcome it because it's who we are. This whole idea that, like I know, for example, sometimes people say, well, I'm never coming back here again. And I totally understand that feeling. I get it. I really do. But that's not really positioning yourself to be in charge of your own destiny. You know, to take a position of being very disgruntled and dissatisfied and say, well, I'm never coming back here again. This is too much. Completely understandable. I truly understand and empathize with that feeling. But that's not how you determine your destiny in the universe, because you're not determining any destiny at all. What you're saying is what you're not going to do. You're not saying what you are going to do. Guys, we don't need to die in order to ascend. We don't need to die in order to have a good experience. We don't need to die in order to return to a state of being who we really are. That's a myth. It's not true. It's a myth designed to keep us stuck. It's a myth designed to make us not really try, because it all happens after you die, right? That's what the religions say. Everything, all the good stuff comes when you die. That's a trap. That's a trick. It's very, very difficult to muster the inner strength and the power and the clarity and the consciousness needed to switch to a higher, better timeline if you continue to believe that everything happens when you die. It's just not true. You want to know why it's not true? Because the truth is we don't die. Maybe our bodies decompose. Maybe our bodies get damaged and don't function anymore. But we, ourselves, that entity who looks out from your eyes, who hears through your ears, who looks in the mirror and sees a person standing there, that entity that you are does not die. That entity is infinitely alive and on a journey. This life is a part of that journey. It's not separate from it. It's not some weird way station that we all fell into and how in the world did I end up here? No, that's not reality. We have the power to take back our destiny and restore ourselves immediately. And we need to do it immediately. Why? Because this is where we are. We are here on planet Earth. So because this is where we are, this is where we need to continue our journey from. So here's an interesting little test you can try. Ask yourself this question. You could just say to yourself as an experiment, what if all that stuff I was told about death and dying, what if none of that's true? It's all a lie. None of it means anything. All of this afterlife stuff that I've been told, what if none of that is actually true? What would you do if you really could comprehend that you don't actually die, that you actually do go on? What are you going to do with that knowledge? What are you going to do with that absolute awareness of truth? Are you going to wait until your body drops away and you go, oh, okay, well, gee, I wish I'd thought of this back then when I was still on planet Earth? Why would you do that, right? We need to wake up inside of our own physical bodies, you guys. This is where we need to wake up. This is the territory within which we need to awaken. Because when you awaken inside your own physical body, that is infinitely more powerful than the so-called Great Awakening here on Earth, where everybody wakes up and realizes the house is on fire. You see what I mean? Awakening inside your physical body is what we need to do if we are to shift to a higher timeline. That is step number 1. So that's what I want to challenge you with as a starting point, because you cannot switch timelines unless you come back into your power again. Otherwise, it's just wishful thinking. It's just a concept. It's not going to take you anywhere. So how about starting with that? Why don't we all try this, right? Why don't we just make an intention or have an intention that says, you know what? I need to wake up inside my physical body. That's the first place. And then from there, you will begin to wake up inside of your earthly life. And from there, you'll realize that there's more to you than your earth-based circumstances. And from there, you can wake up at a cosmic level. And you know what else is really cool about this? You will lose that belief that, oh, if I could only go to another galaxy, if I could only go out into space, that's where all the answers are. That's where all the good stuff is, out in outer space. You won't think like that because you will realize that you are about as in space as you could possibly get. We're in space right now. You can't get any more in space than where you are right now. So with that understanding, there's nowhere physically to go. What is needed is an awakening. Now, once you wake up inside of your own physical body, you're going to awaken all kinds of power. You're going to activate the power that already lies within you. You don't need some beams to come from the outside to activate your DNA and all of that kind of thing. Your inner awakening will activate things you didn't even know existed within you. That's what's so amazing about it. Now, if you feel that you just don't know how, like you might have a question, how do I awaken inside my body, Saratoga? How do I do that? I don't even know how to do that. You could start with prayer. Prayer is an intention. Prayer is a request. Prayer is a way to state your desire at a higher level of being. So if you simply state your intention, if you say, I want to know myself, I need to know who I really am. I need to feel myself in my purest state of being. I need to know this for myself. There's no place you can go externally to find that experience. It has to come from within you. Now, I'm not going to suggest that you're going to awaken from within yourself all at one time, like, boom, I'm awake. It's more of a process. And as you awaken, you will notice that your vibration starts to change, your energy starts to change, your frequency starts to change. And as your vibration gets higher and higher, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way, because I've heard the stories of, oh, high frequency, high vibration, that's just spiritual bypassing. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's called coming into your power. There's nothing bypassing about coming into your power. You are by nature a high vibrational entity. That is who you really are. There's nothing wrong with becoming who you really are. And in the process of becoming who you really are, you will naturally find yourself in a transmutational process of transmuting all of those things that no longer fit with who you are. Now, the next question might be, well, Saratoga, if we're going to shift timelines, how do we know what timeline to shift onto? Well, that will be revealed to you as you awaken, because it will come from within you. It will come from your higher self. It will come from, and your higher self is not out there. Your higher self is within. It's just the you that is closer to your true self. Because the more you awaken, the more you're going to be able to see a new path in front of you. The more you're going to be able to know exactly where you want to be going in this universe. And it won't be conceptual. And when you know things in the way that I'm describing, you're going to find peace. You're going to find the most incredible centering feeling of peace, because that knowing fulfills you with a sense of peace. True knowing brings peace automatically. So if you just focus on awakening, waking up inside your body, the energy of your true self is going to alter the frequency of your mind, your body, your emotions, just your whole physical presence here on earth. And at that point, you will probably begin to realize that you don't need some savior to come through the clouds and save you, because you have returned to your center of power and light and love and who you really are. Now, before I go, I want to remind you once again to consider getting one of these quantum frequency devices for yourself. This specific one that has the quantum sensor inside of it. This specific one that functions as an actual bridge between your physical three-dimensional experience and the quantum field of infinite possibilities. It's literally like an interdimensional bridge, and it actually works. So remember to check the link below, go check it out for yourself, and if you can get one, I think you will be thrilled at the experience. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, please give it a thumbs up and share it out with anyone else who you think would be interested in seeing all this brainwashing so that they too could be free of all of it. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell, because I am here on Tuesdays with all new videos. And with that, I'm sending you so much love, light, and high vibrational energy. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Namaste.